Today, we are just having some conversations, and I have been interviewing some people who know Cross and have known Cross for a while, just to get their perspective. It's a great way for you to get to meet some of the members at Cross and just hear a little bit about what makes this community so special. So I'm excited to be chatting with Wyatt. Wyatt, how did you come to be at Cross?
Right out of college, I went to Marquette University in Milwaukee. And out of school, I was trying to find work in the Milwaukee area because my fiance, I guess girlfriend at the time, we knew we were going to get married. She was finishing grad school. And so I was trying to find work. And my campus pastor at Marquette, Jessica Short, reached out to me and was like, hey, Lutheran Volunteer Corps has some spaces. There's a food justice house in Milwaukee. Maybe you could consider it. She was a pretty instrumental piece of my college experience. And I looked into things a little bit that summer right after college and was like, I'll give this a shot. And when I signed up, I had to interview at a placement site, and gosh, I was driving to work or something. Maybe it was like a practice for something, and was on the phone with Pastor Michelle for like 30 minutes. And we talked for a really long time, and I had a lot to say, she had a lot to say, and that was it. And I was like, sure, this seems like a pretty great place. I guess we'll find out for real. And so the volunteer course started. I moved to Milwaukee with 3 young women, and that brought me to the church. So I walked in initially seeing it as a place where I was going to be serving. And then, as I'm sure many people can also say, I pretty quickly learned that I was going to be served myself in a lot of ways. So that's what brought me to the church, and Cross became my home pretty much right away. I loved the people that welcomed me in, which was all of them, and just was incredibly lucky. There were a lot of ups and downs in that year with the food justice house, and even though things kind of turned south for that situation, the church stayed really, really strong, and a lot of people stepped up in my life from the church. And it turned into one of the biggest blessings in my life. So then I stuck around for that second year, and I loved every minute of that. It was really fun to see the garden keep growing, especially that second year. And then also the changes with the food pantry, to see how that would play out and settle in. And it seemed like that was a pretty positive thing as well. So, I'm excited to be moving back to Milwaukee this fall. Sheila and I are getting married later in the fall in October. So we're moving back. I'll be starting school because I'm going to become a high school science teacher. That's like my next step for a career in education. But yeah, I'm excited to be back in the city. I'm excited to be back at Cross and start to see some familiar faces that until then, I guess I've only been seeing via Zoom this past year, which again is another big blessing to still get to be connected to all of you through the internet. So it's been pretty nice. But yeah, that's in a nutshell. That's how I got myself to Cross, and how I'll be returning to in just a short while.
That's awesome. And I know so many people at Cross are just so excited to hear why it's moving back. And they're very excited about that. And I have to echo your experience of, I knew I would be coming here for an internship. I did not know how warmly welcomed and supported and everything that would go along with that. And I've just been blown away by that. And that's even during this unusual year that it is, that I can still feel that warmth there. I'm wondering if you were talking to somebody who hadn't heard of Cross or hadn't visited yet. How would you describe the congregation to them?
Let's see. While looking at like a list of everything that the church does could be overwhelming at the onset, I think the congregation does an absolutely amazing job of letting people plug themselves in the ways that they want to, and the ways that they, through prayer or other means, are willing to take on. That was a huge thing because, obviously, as the food justice intern, my quote unquote job was to be working with the garden and food production and different things like that. But I got a little bit involved with Sunday school as a substitute while I was there. I helped with Vacation Bible School in the summer, which, I mean, wanting to be a teacher, like children is an important avenue that I really want to, continue to keep that in my life with teaching and that kind of a setup. But never did I feel any pressure to have to do something. It was more the situation of, I'm going to bring what gifts I can and what I can at this time. Because, if the second year that I was there, I had, really just not had as much time and I wasn't able to do something, I could trust that the church would be able to handle it. We would be able to figure things out. And as a new person coming into that situation, rather than being overwhelmed by how much variety and diversity of experiences and programs that they had there, it was really just more of a smorgasbord. It's like, wow, like these are the things that you can get involved in. Please do what you'd like. But it wasn't to the point of necessarily feeling spread too thin. And that's what I really love, because I feel like coming into a new place, people are really excited to have you. They receive you incredibly warmly. But there can also sometimes be that unwritten pressure of like, so what are you going to do? How are you going to be involved? And I didn't ever feel that at Cross. And that was really, really an amazing gift. So it's a very open and welcoming and inclusive congregation. And also one that's willing to let you share what gifts you can and what you'd like to. So yeah, I mean, I guess I would leave it at that for new folks that are considering or just learning about Cross for the first time.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks so much for chatting, Wyatt. So happy to get to meet you and hear some of your perspective.
Yeah, thank you, Vicar Heather. Appreciate it a lot.